and I'm delighted to say that it stretches right through to the middle of May after the test has been played at Kensington Oval. At which point then we do naturally go into the summer period where occupancy begins to drop. But I'm delighted that with the work that's been going on, I can only talk on behalf of ourselves here, but with our sales team based in London and also in New York, we are seeing vastly increased occupancy for the summer coming. We still have some work to do, but I'm pleased to report that the summer is looking vastly better than historic years. And certainly, one of the concerns I perhaps had was, has the winter been a spike and will it continue? But again, I'm pleased to report that the pace reports would indicate that next winter season will be equally as buoyant, if not a little better. So we need to keep up the hard work. We need to keep the messages going across the world, the positive messages, whether it's about food, whether it's about the beauty of the island, the number of different activities that are available to visitors. We need the support of the airlines continuously. It was fantastic news of the JetBlue announcement of the Mint service starting from November the 7th. And you know, there is a focus now to try and attract more North American business and keep up the levels of business from the UK and Europe.
We struggled behind the scenes, and sometimes it felt like, how are we going to get this work? But the team we felt that we couldn't disappoint our guests quite frankly. And we had to find a way how we're going to serve some meals to the guests. And we pull out some small camp stoves, we just get on with it. It was tough, it was hard, and obviously when the orders keep coming in, and having guests like we have, sometimes our guests, they ask for many different things that's not even on the menu. So imagine having all those different questions and all those different requirements from the guests and not being able to service them as we normally would. But I think the best part about it, now we're looking back at it in hindsight, is that the team really pulled together and suck it up and just get on and go on with it really. We could have spent the time moaning and groaning. We could have said to the guests, oh, you can't have this, I'm sorry, we don't have any gas. And but then it's not the guest's fault that they come all the way here to Barbados and to Cobblers Cove and can't have some lunch or can't have some dinner. So we just find ways in which we were able to please the guests and accommodate the guests. I guess nothing happened. There were times when the guests had to wait. There were times when they had to wait a little bit longer than others. At a time, there were perhaps some ingredients that they couldn't get but we were able to serve them. I want to recognize or find out that after what the problems that we were experiencing, they were extremely thankful and grateful that we were able to. It's easier to get items that are imported than to get sometimes the items that are local. And sometimes they don't always look beautiful to other people. But what I find personally is that the beauty of a carrot or beauty of a vegetable is not in the fact that it is straight or it has no curves or it has no bumps or it has no blemishes. The beauty is in the natural the naturalness or actually, as we were saying, it's a locally grown number one. That's beautiful. It tastes way better than any carrot or any other vegetable that is imported because normally they farm on a large scale and they have lots of other things that are added to these particular carrots that are perhaps modified to make them grow bigger and faster. But for me, I find it's a thrill to speak to the guests and to say, oh, I have this, we go to the farm, we get our whole cows in, they're free range, so they have nothing added to it, they're just all natural. The meat is full of flavor. Perhaps it might not be as soft and tender as maybe some of the other programs from outside, but when it comes to the taste and the flavor and of the meat, it is far superior. And I can say that for all the vegetables. And but what I would have to say is using local ingredients and cooking local food. We as chefs sometimes, even as Barbadian chefs, we don't really appreciate and we don't really respect our food. So how can the restaurants now who are perhaps, who have chefs that are from other parts of the world, how would they respect it quite quite frankly. And I think they might want to use more local stuff. But for me, I was trained in classical French cuisine, and I know perhaps it is easier for me to cook that style. But I find that I am now developing a passion and a new love for Barbadian food and for Barbadian ingredients and for traditional food like the sauce, like the cocoa, and I keep harping on that. But it's only become that way from me doing a tour that we offer at the hotel, where I take the guests down to the fish market, where I take the guests down to the vegetable market, where we go upstairs in the food court area that have traditional no-frill food, the roti, the ham cutter, the cheese cutter, and when the guests eat those different dishes, and they think it's the best thing in the world. And I'm like, yeah, wow, because sometimes we as chefs, we don't appreciate it, or we as Barbadians actually, we don't appreciate it. And most food cultures in the world, if not all of them, started from poor people or peasants, cooking the harvest cuts, whether it's roasting, whether it's baking, whether it's frying, whether it's grilling. And I think there's a place for our cuisine internationally. So I sorry I had to come all around to answer that one question. But I think it starts from loving what we produce and appreciating what we have. And once you have that passion, and I as a chef, I'm now developing that passion in all honesty. And I think if we or more chefs develop that passion and love what we do and appreciate what we do, I think our cuisine will stand amongst the Italian, the French, the Japanese, because our flavors are bold, our colors are beautiful, our food is tasty, and sometimes it takes people that come from all over the world to show us that there's something worth eating, or there's something beautiful about our food. And I think we as Barbadian chefs and as Barbadians actually have to appreciate it more.